Namaskar to all the devotees. In the last discourse, we have discussed about Master Mahashaya visiting all the temples of Dakshineshwar, and finally he reached Sri Ramakrishna's room. Sri Ramakrishna was sitting inside. Already it was evening. Sri Ramakrishna sitting, he was in completely, he lost his outer consciousness. He was in deep samadhi, bhava samadhi. Then sometimes coming normal, sometimes he is going in bhava samadhi. During that time, he went and sat. After some time, so Sri Ramakrishna asked, where are you from? All those things he has inquired, Sri Ramakrishna. Then, before going, Master Mahashaya met that maid servant. So inquired about Sri Ramakrishna and entered. Then it is first experience for Master Mahashaya, Mahendranath Gupta, author of this Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, seeing a person going into deep consciousness, deep God's consciousness, bhava samadhi. He never heard of this, first time. So for him it is something strange. Slowly in later period he coming to his understanding. You can please sit inside the ladies, sir, please. So slowly Master Mahashaya will come to know about more and more about Sri Ramakrishna. And then, before visiting all other temples, first he heard the teachings of Sri Ramakrishna. Once you heard the name of Sri Hari, if you shed tears, then there won't be any work to perform. All the duties will drop off by itself. This is the first time Master Mahashaya hearing all these things. What is strange? This is a new teaching. See, this is very important, this statement. See, from here it starts. See, bhakti, there are three types of bhakti. One bhakti is called Mandha Bhakti. Second is Madhyama Bhakti. Third is Uttama Bhakti. What is Madhyama Bhakti? See, every one of us, every human being, he wants something to be fulfilled in his life. So, in our dharma prescribed goal of human life, there are four goals. Purushartha we call. Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. So, ultimately, Moksha. That let us keep aside. Afterwards, we'll come to that. Mandha Bhakti, what? We want to achieve something. Want to fulfill. So we love something. So how to get that one? See, if you don't love something, suppose you want to buy a house, then first you have to love, yes, I should have a house. Or you want to buy a car. So a particular car, something will be there in your mind. Somehow I have to get it. See, because I love that car. This is called some material benefits, material goal, it is called Mandha Bhakti. Mandha Bhakti, for that there is a means. How to get. So we love that means also. Goal also, means. See, means is not a final goal of. We love that means to get that particular thing. That is the thing. Once that material, something is achieved, so all other means, we don't care about that. So some material things, because that, for that, I love something. Then that love is extreme love, it is called bhakti. So this is called Mandha Bhakti. Then second type Mandha Bhakti, this is means. So how to get one? How to get. So we love all the work. So to achieve that one, I have to earn money. So I love my work. How to get all those means we started loving. All our activities. Because I have to earn money. Something I should get. Because my goal is to buy something or achieve something. For that, I love all the process. That is called second type of bhakti. The third type of bhakti is loving oneself. Why you are going to buy? Why you are going all this process? To buy because I love myself. If some item you purchase, at that moment you will have love for that. After some time, some new model will come, new mobile, something, new material will come. The love for particular item will go away. Why? Because enough, it is satisfied myself. See, anything we buy, any material thing, only for the sake of myself. So, what is ultimate love? Myself only. Any material, whether a person or material or any object, what for? For the sake of myself. That is why in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad says, Yajnavalkya says, what he says, Atmanastu kamaya sarvam priyam bhavati. Nava are jayayai priyam bhavati. Jayayai priyam bhavati, priyaya, jayaya priyam, jayayai priyam, jaya priyam bhavati. See, nava are Atmanastu kamaya priyam bhavati. Jaya priyam bhavati. See, a husband loves wife not because of wife, because of her own self. Wife loves husband not because of husband, because one's own self. Anything in this world you see, you take. Everything for myself. Any item, to satisfy myself. Even any person, object, land, location, anything for my security, my fulfillment. That same thing, these are the three things. First one, to achieve something. First one, loving the object and means, and finally, oneself. That same thing, if you turn towards the highest thing, that is God, what will become? The highest self become one with the God. That myself and Paramatma is not different. Then when that stage comes, that is called Parama Bhakti, Para Bhakti. So when that will come, what will happen? That is why Sri Ramakrishna is telling, once you shed tears, once you hear the word of Hari, when you shed tears, all the karma, all the work will drop off. Similarly, once you get the object, any material, all other process will automatically, you don't go for that. Once I have got to get, not necessary to go again and again. So similarly, once you get that Paramatma, once I come to know that this Jivatma, the self which is inside me and Paramatma I am seeking, there is no difference. Once it comes, as soon as when you hear, what will happen? Suppose something very, for example, you can take all athletes, sportsmen. In Olympics they play. During Olympics, once you get, they have won the medal, gold medal, you might have seen. So many sportsmen, as soon as when they get that gold medal, they started crying, weeping. What for? Because of joy. See, some simple material things once they get, why they shed tears? Out of joy. So, see, small material, for that simple material, you are getting so much joy. All the materials, who is the source of all these materials? If we get that person, if you get that Paramatma, he is the source of all the material things in this universe, what joy will be there? That is what Sri Ramakrishna is telling. Once you hear the word of Sri Hari, if you shed tears, all the duties, you need not perform anything. You need it automatically by itself, it will drop off. So, to get rid of this, what you require to get this state, get this joy, what we have to do. That way, here it starts actual teaching. The word of what Sri Ramakrishna is mentioning in the Gospel, the beginning itself, what Master Mahashaya, author of this book, what he wants to tell, from here starts teaching. What? First thing, if you want to gain that joy, first you have to eradicate that ego. All the impurities should go. That is, for that reason, the very beginning itself, he is mentioning what Sri Ramakrishna actually, see, it is happening, it is not imagination. He is experiencing. But Master Mahashaya, when he visited Dakshineshwar, Sri Ramakrishna was talking about this. But that same thing, first he started with that material. Why? Because the whole life, human goal is to realize God realization. The whole of his teaching, Sri Ramakrishna's teaching, what is the goal of human life? God realization alone. So from that is why it happened to him, the beginning, what he experienced, same thing happened, and he started writing this gospel from there only. Then the first thing, see, this is the first blow of his ego. Master Mahashaya. First, he was thinking, he came to Sri Ramakrishna because he casually came, not any intention. He deliberately did not come to Sri Ramakrishna. And casually he came, actually he was in depressed mood. He wanted to commit suicide because of so much domestic problem. Why this idea of committing suicide? Why the idea of this depression comes? Because many people, why they are trying to commit suicide? Why they are trying to get depressed? Because they don't know what is the goal of human life. What for I have taken birth? We are suffering because of you are depending upon something else. You are already free. That knowledge is not there. Everything belongs to Paramatma. Whatever you see, everything belongs to Paramatma. Nothing yours. Isha vasyamidam sarvam yatkincha jagatyan jagat tena tyakter vanjita magruda kasya siddhanam. Isha Vasyamidam says, whatever you see, everything belongs to same Paramatma. Is filled with Isha. Isha vasyamidam sarvam. Everything filled with that Paramatma. That we don't know, because we think that it is mine. If I don't get, I will suffer. My I and mine, this because of this ignorance, we suffer. Why Master Mahashaya is suffering? Why he wanted to commit suicide? Because he identifies with this problem. So this is the first blow for his ego. Then afterwards, after entering Sri Ramakrishna's, after a little conversation, and Sri Ramakrishna, now and then he was losing his consciousness, outer consciousness, he was going to samadhi. Then he thought that, Sri Ramakrishna is not interested. He was thinking like that, because generally we suppose if we talk, nobody gives attention. We think that he is not interested. We think like that. Same thing happened, because it is all day-to-day life we are experiencing like this. But he did not understand what is the state of Sri Ramakrishna, because he is in different mood, not in ordinary mood. He is not in ordinary plane. Then he trying to explain, I think you are busy. Like, no, not like that. Sri Ramakrishna, not like that. Then after some time, Sri Ramakrishna says, come again. So there we stopped in the last class, come again. So we too have come again. We have come again here to listen the words of Sri Ramakrishna further. So Sri Ramakrishna, when he says come again, this very, very profound word, this particular word, come again. See, coming again, approaching to the Guru, approaching to any teacher, again and again, that is what Sri Ramakrishna is conveying us. See, this gospel, once if you have read, is finished. That is not like that. Again and again you have to read. Again and again you have to listen to the words of the Guru. Otherwise, how can you clean our impurities? Once you read, you means enough, I have read. It is not like that. It is not like something reading like a story and a novel. It is continuous, because go on pouring. You have to see Sri Ramakrishna, when Swami Vivekananda giving a lecture in America about Vedanta. Swamiji, are you hypnotizing us? Swamiji talking about you are the Parama, you are the Atman, you are pure conscious, you are not a senior, you are Shunvantu Shamrutasya Puttaha. He was telling you are potentially divine. All those teachings he was speaking. One of the audiences among listeners got up, one lady got up. Swamiji, are you hypnotizing us? No, madam, I am not hypnotizing, I am dehypnotizing. Swamiji says, I am not hypnotizing, I am dehypnotizing. You are thinking that I am body, I am so and so. So this is the main, first impurity of our life is thinking we are body. Once you think your body or a mind, or you are identifying something, then all sorts of mistakes, all sorts of crime, everything starts. So that is why, so if you want to purify yourself, go on listening. Shravana Manana Nidhyasana. That is why our Shastra says, Vedanta says, our Upanishad says, how to get the knowledge of Paramatma Atman? Shravana Manana Nidhyasana. Shravana is very given importance. See, Patana Manana Nidhyasana, it came later on. Patana Manana Nidhyasana, Shravana. Go on listening. Of course, now we may not get Guru who can teach regularly teaching. At least, that is why this Shravana, this reading of Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, it is as good as Shravana only. Even though you are reading book, because that is why Master Mahashaya wrote in the format of conversation. Because what happened, the same thing he has written. He has not written, deliberately did not write like this. What we heard, same thing, just he verbatim he has put it in Gospel. So that when people read this, or wherever somewhere in the discourses are going on, when they hear, they should have the experience of I am talking to Sri Ramakrishna himself. They should have the experience so that I am talking to Sri Ramakrishna and I am having conversation with Sri Ramakrishna alone. That experience. That is why this Master Mahashaya giving every minute details of that premises, that period. Whenever he visits Dakshineshwar, who was there, where he sat, and in which direction Sri Ramakrishna was sitting, all those things why he has given, so that people, listeners, readers, they will have that picture of that, so that all that idea, Sri Ramakrishna teachings will go inside. See, suppose somebody tells story. Why children like stories? Simply go on, it's just like giving lecture if you give, no children will like. All the minute details you should give. Then the children will live. With big guys they will listen. With so much curiosity, so much intention, they will listen. As if see, even not only children, any person, if you start listening stories, then he will, as if the picture is coming. Suppose a story of Mahabharata, immediately Krishna will come, then Duryodhana will come, Arjuna will come, all those people will come to before our picture, so that we can meditate upon that. Similarly, when Master Maheshwar gave all these details in the format of conversation, what he has heard, same thing, why he has written like this, so that we can meditate upon Sri Ramakrishna. We can meditate upon the situation, what was there when Sri Ramakrishna was there. Dakshineshwar, you can imagine. So that it will help us to do sadhana. So that is why, so after, just before leaving Sri Ramakrishna's room, Sri Ramakrishna said, come again. Come again means, you keep on coming. Then only all your problems will go away. Sri Ramakrishna can understand his mental status. Master Maheshwar mental, she could understand. Come again. Generally, he will not say. If any person casually comes, you can see the life of Sri Ramakrishna. If any person comes casually, just for fun or just like tour, like if he comes, okay, please come. Those he can understand whether he is interested or not. Then he will, after a few conversation, you can go and have beautiful garden is there. Go and visit all those temples. He will tell. He will not specifically will not tell. Only specifically particular person will tell. Please come again. When he says we come again, there must be something. There is some mission in his action. So when Sri Ramakrishna said, come again. So there we stopped in the last discourse. Then on his way home, M began to wonder, who is this serene looking man who is drawing me back to him? See, once Sri Ramakrishna says, come again, it is like that only. It will be something like magnet. It's attracting. It may not be experienced for all. Naturally, suppose something you will like, again and you feel like, yes, you should go. See, those who come to our ashrama, our mat, some devotee we are seeing, first time they'll come. But second time, so we are not calling him. They themselves feel like to come. Who is attracting? It is not any person, any sadhu is not attracting. This is the power of Sri Ramakrishna. Somebody asked when how did you attract? He said, I was a third standard boy. I was born and brought up in Bangalore. Just not even 1 kilometer, less than a kilometer. I was residing. Only first time they took me to Bangalore ashrama. The ashrama is there, just like here. And I saw Sri Ramakrishna's photograph. See, as soon as whenever they call, shall we go to ashrama? I am so happy to go. Seeing first time when I saw Sri Ramakrishna's picture, it so attracted me. See, class 3rd standard, but I did not study anything about Sri Ramakrishna. I say, at that age, what I will come to know? What I know about Sri Ramakrishna. Third standard, by if you go and who is Sri Ramakrishna? Nothing. Oh, okay, is there something? Just like any going to temple, same thing it will be there. We used to visit many temples. But seeing the picture of Sri Ramakrishna so much attracted to me. It is not because of my something inside. Not like that. It is Sri Ramakrishna who attracts. It is not something power within me. Of course, within me, only Sri Ramakrishna should be there inside. Then only he is attracting, himself is attracting himself like that. That's all, in that way. But that small boy is getting attracted to Sri Ramakrishna means, what is the power of Sri Ramakrishna? The same thing is happening to Master Mahashaya. First time he visited, he is not visiting Dakshineshwara. He went there casually. He heard the words of Sri Ramakrishna, he is getting it. Then he thought, after 1 week, let me go. But he could not stay. Very next day, because he had some other work, so he could not, he became restless. When I will go, when I will visit. That type of thought came. That urge came to him. So on his way home, he began to wonder, who is this serene looking man? Who is drawing me back to him? Is it possible for a man to be great without being a scholar? See, he is wondering because he himself is a teacher. And without he is not a great scholar. Sri Ramakrishna did not go to school. Somebody asked very long ago, enough of Swamis, in Ramakrishna mission, all the sadhus are educated like that. Then one Swami answered, here only happened, during retreat time, one of our Swamis was there, he was attending, one devotee asked question. In Ramakrishna mission, all the sadhus are educated. Then that Swami answered, in Ramakrishna mission, all the sadhus 100% educated. Who are there in Ramakrishna mission? All the sadhus or brahmacharis are 100% highly educated. Some are postgraduate, some are PhD. But except one. Who is that? The Sri Ramakrishna himself. So we sadhus are educated, but Sri Ramakrishna is not educated in the sense of formal education. But he is educator of all educated people. He is an educator. He will educate. For him, no education is required. He can educate others. That is the thing. So, same thing it is happening to Master Mahashaya. Is it possible for a man to be great without being a scholar? He thought that reading so many books, one can become great scholar, one can become achieve everything. That is what Swamiji says. See, Swamiji got all these ideas from Sri Ramakrishna. See, Swami himself was a very highly scholar. He read so many books, Indian philosophy, Indian psychology, Western psychology, so much, Hegel, Kant, everything he could quote. But he was not satisfied. Then only he came to Sri Ramakrishna. Then all those staying with Sri Ramakrishna, trained by Sri Ramakrishna, then only Swamiji spoke. Education is the manifestation of perfection which is already in man. Where from he got this idea? Swamiji. He got from Sri Ramakrishna. Education doesn't mean just reading books. Education doesn't mean that it's reading so many books, all those things. Not like that. Copying somebody's knowledge and quoting. It is not like that. Sri Ramakrishna was original. All his teachings, all his words, everything is original. Nothing borrowed. He may quote some stories, whatever he heard during his childhood. But all his teachings are not borrowed. It is his own experience. Sri Ramakrishna says, yes, I saw. When Swami Vivekananda, Naren visited Dakshineshwar, have you seen God? He went and asked so many people, Swamiji, Devendranath Tagore, Keshav Chandra Sen, Vishwa Chandra Sagar, whoever he comes to him, whoever he visits to anybody, he will go and ask, have you seen God? Have you seen God? Nobody gave proper answer. They are all scholars. They are all great scholars. Well read. They are all pandits. Nobody gave proper answer. First time he came to Sri Ramakrishna, Dakshineshwar, directly asked, have you seen God? The first time Swamiji hearing, yes, I have seen, as I am seeing you. Rather more clear. Perfect. That is very important. More clear means, because we are not seeing each other clearly. If I want to communicate with you, I will require all the instruments. But Sri Ramakrishna experienced the direct experience of Paramatma. Paramatma, seeing God doesn't mean through senses. It is direct experience. We are not seeing each other, we are not communicating each other directly. If you want to communicate, I require to speak. Require the organ of speech. You want to see? I require the organ of vision. All those instruments, without instrument, I cannot see. But here, Sri Ramakrishna experience is not like that. Everything is original. Direct experience. Without any instrument. Without any media. That experience, that knowledge, he imparted to Swamiji and all his disciples. So, this first time. So, second blow of ego. He got. He was thinking that by reading books, one can, by being a scholar, all the knowledge, one person can become great. He was thinking like that. This Master Mahashaya. Then he was surprised. A man to be great without being a scholar. So that was the notion. If you read books only, then only you'll become great. How wonderful it is. I should like to see him again. So, the new thing for him. See, he was a teacher. He was a teacher in Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar school. This Master Mahashaya. I think teacher means I should have more and more knowledge, more and more information so that I can omit whatever I know. That is the idea. The first time, how wonderful it is. I should like to see him again. It's a new thing, new idea it is for him. He himself said, He himself said, come again. And then he was telling about Sri Ramakrishna. Oh, Sri Ramakrishna himself said, come again. So I shall go tomorrow or the day after. So he was thinking, okay, after some time I will go. But he was so curious, he became so curious. Yes, I should go immediately. So I should try to go tomorrow itself, because once you enter inside, that urge comes. Something, suppose in our life also, something you like something, we will become so restless. When sun will rise, immediately we should go. That urge comes, no? Same thing happened to Master Mahashaya also. Second visit to Sri Ramakrishna took place on the southeast veranda at 8 o'clock in the morning. Here, Master Mahashaya giving all the details. So where Sri Ramakrishna was sitting, which direction. Is it necessary? I was thinking that is it necessary all these details? Simply he can give. But not very. So there is something importance there. Very many things to learn here. See, southeast veranda at 8 o'clock in the morning. 8 o'clock he was sitting. And what he was doing? The master was about to be shaved. So Sri Ramakrishna was sitting for getting shaved. You see, all these details, it looks something funny. No, every details, why he is mentioning all these things, Sri Ramakrishna was something very formal, not like that. He was very casual. See, he's teaching, because everything is projecting. Sri Ramakrishna, don't think that Sri Ramakrishna was something great, and then he is Avatara, Varishta, he is Avatara, he is different from ordinary people. Not like he was just an ordinary man. First you have to see, if you want to learn any from great, even the life of Sri Ramchandra, Sri Krishna, first look at them as a human being. Then only you can learn something. So immediately, if you try to make them God directly, you don't learn anything, because he is God, you nothing to learn. See, that is the way. See, even Sri Ramakrishna, Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, and Sri Ram, the great master, Sri Ramakrishna, great master, his life teachings. That is why Guru Bhava and humanistic Bhava, all those things he mentions. Swami Ishapremananda, he wrote Life of Sri Ramakrishna, the great master. There is humanistic aspect and Guru aspect, all those details he gives. Because first thing, any great person, first you should see them as a first human being. How he lived. Then only we can learn. Just to, they are God. Otherwise what will happen? These great men, they will only the object of worship, that's all. You don't learn anything. You should not just make them object of worship. Yes, you have to worship. You worship. You do worship here. You pray him. Everything. It will not end there itself. You have to learn something. That is why all these things, the master was about to be shed, the barber having just arrived. As the cold season still lingered, he had wrapped himself in a red bordered moleskin. He said to himself, is it such a wicked thing to marry? Sorry, 1 minute. I jumped. So he had wrapped himself. See, all the details is just Sri Ramakrishna was wrapped himself in the shawl, red border small skin shawl. Seeing him, M thought that this is not the time to meet him. He was a little bit Western educated man. This Master Mahashaya. Generally, you don't go and disturb during that time. But Sri Ramakrishna doesn't have any formality. Yes, sir, you sit. The Parama was shaving, you sit, you started asking all inquiry. See, he never wastes his time. During that time also, during shaving time also, he is ready to teach. See, even that time also, he is conscious in God, on God consciousness. That we have to learn. All the moment, whether work is going on, yes, this is all regular thing, but always keeping in God consciousness. So there, seeing him, the master said, so you have come. So Sri Ramakrishna nodded his head. come again. So, yeah, come. Sri Ramakrishna happy. That's good. Sit down here. So, clear he says. See, you are getting shaved by barber. He is asking him to sit there itself. He will not have any shy. All this is Sri Ramakrishna. He removed, he completely free from all shame, everything. Because once you reach that height of spirituality, where is the shame? Nothing. So he says, he was smiling and he stammered. So Sri Ramakrishna had a stammering while speaking. Sri Ramakrishna, whenever he, but the beauty of the, whenever he, even though he stammered, but it's so beautiful, so nice to hear. Sri Ramakrishna to him, where do you live? So all those details, when Sri Ramakrishna, once he says, come again, once he think that he is really a genuine person, he really is a seeker, then all his details, personal details he will ask. Otherwise he will not go and ask. See, generally he also, if you come to know, he is very, yes, you can make person, if you come to know his person genuine, then only will inquire about his past, everything, who he from, and what is your father, what is your mother, all those details we ask. Otherwise, if you don't like, just will ignore. So similarly, Sri Ramakrishna, he just by looking at Master Mahashaya, how he scanned, yes, he is belong to inner circle, he thought. Then he is asking, where do you live? M. In Calcutta, sir. Sri Ramakrishna, where are you staying? M. I am at Bharanagar, at my elder sister's Ishan Kaviraj's house. Sri Ramakrishna, oh, at Ishan's. Well, how is Keshav now? He was very ill. Here you see a very important thing. Sri Ramakrishna never generally, he will not ask mother, divine mother, for anything material things, any worldly things. But one for himself, but for the sake of his devotees. When see Ishan Kaviraj house means there he was, Keshav Chandra Sen was living. Immediately, indeed, I have heard so too, but Sri Ramakrishna asking, oh, at Ishan's, well, how is Keshav now? He was very ill. M. Indeed, I heard so too, but I believe he is well now. Now we see, Sri Ramakrishna, I made a vow to worship the mother with green coconut and sugar on Keshav's recovery. Sometimes in the early hours of the morning, I would wake up and pray to her, Mother, please make Keshav well again. If Keshav doesn't leave, whom shall I talk with when I go to Calcutta? And so it was that I resolved to offer her the green coconut and sugar. Why Sri Ramakrishna prayed for Keshav Chandra Sen? See, for himself got cancer, Sri Ramakrishna. All his disciples requested Swami, Baba, please, Guru Maharaj, please ask my Divine Mother. Whatever you ask, Mother will grant. For our sake, you place Mother, Divine Mother, to cure your cancer. He did not ask Divine Mother to cure his disease. But he is praying for Keshav Chandra Sen. He is praying for others. He is not for. What for? See, actually you have to know, you should know that it is Keshav, through Keshav Chandra Sen, people came to know about Sri Ramakrishna. All direct disciples who we are studying, Sri Ramakrishna direct disciples, 16 disciples, even from Swami Vivekananda, Brahmanandaji, and the Master, all these people came to know through Keshav Chandra Sen only. Keshav Chandra Sen was a great orator, a great scholar, and a member of Brahma Samaj, Novedan Brahma Samaj. And even though the Brahma Samaj people, they are against Murti Puja, idol worship. But Keshav Chandra Sen, he so much he was attracted to Sri Ramakrishna, then all of the Brahma Samaj members, they did not agree, they did not approve his going to Sri Ramakrishna. But Keshav Chandra, in spite of that, Keshav Chandra Sen invited Sri Ramakrishna to his residence, to his congregations. Many people did not agree. But see, in spite of this, Sri Ramakrishna knows. So all the members of Brahma Samaj did not like Sri Ramakrishna, Keshav Chandra Sen going to Sri Ramakrishna. What happened? It really happened when Sri Ramakrishna visited Brahma Samaj congregation. After reaching there, Sri Ramakrishna went into Samadhi. Suddenly what happened? Those people, Brahma Samaj people, they switched off the light. Just for the sake of jealousy, because they did not like it. But here Sri Ramakrishna never criticized them. See what we have to learn. Even though they show disrespect to Sri Ramakrishna, but Keshav Chandra Sen, but he respected. Keshav Chandra Sen was not like that. He understood Sri Ramakrishna's power because of through his journals. Mirror, there was a magazine called Mirror. In that Mirror, he wrote about Sri Ramakrishna. Through that only most of the disciples came to know about Sri Ramakrishna. He is the first person to introduce Sri Ramakrishna to the world. So for that, we should be very grateful for Sri Keshav Chandra Sen. Because then, Keshav Chandra Sen, when he invited Sri Ramakrishna, see what we have to learn, he did not criticize their path. He did not criticize their way of worship. They don't agree. They were not, they're against idol worship. Murti Puja, they are against. Most of the Brahma Samaj ideas, they are learned from Abrahamic religion. They are influenced by Christianity more. Because when Rajaram Mohan Rai started, he was more influenced by this Abrahamic religion. So he wanted to synchronize both Abrahamic religion and Indian, this one. Well, whatever it may be. But Sri Ramakrishna, but many things we cannot accept also, is the way of his ideas, the Brahma Samaj ideas, it cannot accept. There is something, very illogical things, many things are there. We need not go into deep of that. Just later on, after Rajaram Mohan Rai, there are so many divisions happened in Brahma Samaj. Keshav Chandra Sen, different, Shivanath Shastri, different dispensation, all those things started. But Sri Ramakrishna, he respected everyone. Then he did, himself is a great avatar. He experienced God, but after going there, so I bow down to the modern Brahmins, modern Brahmans. He used to say, Brahma Samaj, modern gods, something like that. Even them also. See, he did not criticize them also. Okay, let them go in their own way. Because once person who has realized the truth, Sri Ramakrishna realized that highest truth, then he will not see any difference. If you don't have any realization, if you don't see truth, what I think, that only correct we think. That is why Sri Ramakrishna, why only so much Joto Toto, he says, as many faces, so many. Why he has told? Because his own experience. What he experienced, what Veda says, Ekam Sadvipra Bhoda Vadanti, what Rigveda says, that already he experienced in his life. So when he has experienced, he saw, this also is a path. Not only that, he sees same Brahman in that path. He sees even Sri Ramakrishna, he could not see any bad even in the prostitute. Then when Sri Ramakrishna was in Dakshineshwar, he was coming out from Dakshineshwar temple, he saw one prostitute coming. Oh mother, you are in that form. He did Sashtang Pranam to that prostitute. We see all discrimination. But Sri Ramakrishna will not see, because he sees same Brahman in her, same divine mother, even in that fallen lady. when you reach the state of Brahman, even he saw Girish Chandra Ghosh. See, Girish Chandra Ghosh, he says, he was so sinner. Girish Chandra Ghosh himself says, if I had known that Sri Ramakrishna would come, I would have committed much more sins, he said. That much sin he has done. But that, even Girish Chandra Ghosh, he simply lifted him to the highest state of Brahman. That is why, so Swami Vivekananda says, all Sri Ramakrishna's idea, every sinner has a past. Every sinner has a future. Every saint has past. It is we, ignorant people, we discriminate. Of course, it doesn't mean that we go on mix with all bad people. Not like that. But don't discriminate and don't disrespect. Don't demean anyone. Yes, wherever necessary, keep them at a distance, but don't hate anyone. That is what Sri Ramakrishna has shown in his life. So, why I am telling this? So, Keshav Chandra Sen, even though he belongs to the Brahmo Samaj, he accepted their way of worship also. So, everything accepted. Then, he used to go and discuss with Keshav Chandra Sen. That is why Sri Ramakrishna is telling, I made a vow to worship. Sri Ramakrishna for himself did not ask. For himself, nothing he asked. But for Keshav Chandra Sen, I made a vow to worship the mother with green coconut and sugar and Keshav's recovery. For his health, he is praying. Sometimes, in the early hours of the morning, I would wake up and pray to her mother, please make Keshav well again. If Keshav doesn't live, whom shall I talk? Because he used to very close to Keshav, no one then used to discuss with him. Tell me, do you know of a certain Mr. Cook who has come to Calcutta? Is it true that he is giving lectures? Once Keshav took me on a steamer and this Mr. Cook too was in the party. Yes sir, I have heard something like that. But I have never been to his lectures. I don't know much about him. See, Sri Ramakrishna is asking about one Cook, Mr. Cook. So, there are so many people. So, they have started giving lectures. Sri Ramakrishna, what is he? How much he loves, that much he is critical also. He is outspoken. Sri Ramakrishna is very outspoken, nothing like that. Sri Ramakrishna says, Pratap's brother came here. He stayed a few days. He had nothing to do and said he wanted to live here. Pratap means Pratap Chandra Hazra. Here he said, I came to know that he had left his wife and children with his father-in-law. He has a whole brood of them. So I took him to task. Just fancy. He is the father of so many children. Will people from the neighborhood feed them and bring them up? He is not even ashamed that someone else feeding his wife and children, and that they have been left at his father-in-law's house. I scolded him very hard and asked him to look for a job. Then he was willing to live here. Prasad Sindra Hazar. See, Sri Ramakrishna, he was always in the God's consciousness. He was never approved just whiling away your time without taking responsibility, giving up his duties. See, in the beginning itself, when you heard the words of Hari, when you shed tears, all the duties will be dropped off when he said, there itself he gives the answer. It doesn't mean that you have to perform your duty as long as you are not reached the state of that highest spirituality. You have to perform your duty. And similar thing is telling. This Pratap Chandra Hazra, he was always sitting next to his Sri Ramakrishna's room. Go on talking, all giving upadesha to everyone. Then this fellow, these children, his wife and children, somewhere living in the village. Some people were feeding. He is not taking care of their family. Then Sri Ramakrishna was scolded. See, spirituality doesn't mean that you have to give up all your duties. See, this is the way This is the thing. See, avatar, why Sri Ramakrishna is called avatara? Same thing you see in Krishna also. Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita, what he said? See, he gave profound ideas, profound spiritual ideas, Sri Krishna to Arjuna. But he reminded him his duty. See, avatars, there is a difference between social reformers and avatars. Social reformers, they're just like activists. Go on agitating, fighting for something. They don't think about what is the repercussions of that. They go on something, some policy comes, they'll go on activists, they'll do. Avatars are not like, they are not activists. They are not social reformers. They give the dharma, what is right, what is wrong. What is your duty? See, any society, if you want to flourish, each individual should perform their duty. That is called dharma. Dharma doesn't mean something you believe. See, Sanatana Dharma, it doesn't mean that you believe something. Sanatana Dharma means you perform your duty. Each individual has own duty according to his nature and his guna. That is why Sri Ramakrishna is telling, see, your nature, simply go on giving lecture, whoever comes, whether he is interested or not. But your wife and children are suffering. You are not taking care. He is scolding him. Sri Ramakrishna is always in God's mood. Everything he sees God in everyone. Why is everything is, whole universe has come out from it, manifested, projected through Paramatma. Everything is Paramatma. According to his will is going on. Sri Ramakrishna says everything according to his will. But it doesn't mean that Sri Ramakrishna will approve all our idleness. It's so practical. That is why Sri Ramakrishna not only is teaching highest spirituality, and he is teaching how to get highest knowledge, highest God realization through day-to-day life. How to live in this world. That is called dharma. He is teaching dharma also. That is why Avatar Vishta Sarvadharma Swarupaya Sri Ramakrishna Nama. Sthapakaya Dharmasya Sarvadharma Swarupini Avatar Varishta. Swami Vivekananda wrote this sloka on Sri Ramakrishna. This is the reason. See, Sarvadharma, all the dharma, you have to perform. You have to perform your duty. Then only you will be fit enough to realize God. That is what Sri Ramakrishna is telling. Then Sri Ramakrishna asking Master Mahashaya, are you married? Yes, sir, he told. So afterwards what will happen? What happened? We'll discuss about next week. Om Niranjanam Nityamanantarupam Bhaktanukampadrita Vigraham Vai Ishavataram Parameshamidyam Tam Ramakrishnam Shirasa Namami. So next Sunday we'll end with the next Sunday. We'll take up what Sri Ramakrishna said when he asked, are you married? Then Master will say, yes, sir. So what is the reaction from Sri Ramakrishna? Let us see in the next week.